move this fluid in here into your bag. Okay, so how are you going to get fluid from this reservoir into that bag?
It's gonna come through here.
Mm-hmm.
So up. And because everything is up, it's gonna stay there.
Correct.
So then we open this one.
So you can take that clamp off. Okay? And then what you want to do is put that clamp over here. Because eventually we're going to prime our oxygenator via our recirc, okay? So you can go ahead and clamp that out. Okay? Now, you'll see the fluid will only go to a certain level because what's trapped in here? The CO2. CO2. Okay, so you can just open it to atmosphere and you can see as the CO2 is displaced, the level in the bag rises, right? Okay? You're going to shut that back off. Okay, you're not going to run it open. Remember, it's a closed system. Okay? All right, now what's the next thing you got to do?
The oxygenator. But this is a centrifugal, so it's gonna go through the head and then zero the
Yeah.
the flow meter.
Correct. So you're going to take your, when you're running a tether, because the tether sits much lower than if the head is mounted up on the pump, you're going to want to clamp your inflow and your outflow. And it's going to be easier for you to prime.
Just turn it.
You're going to, yeah, you're going to have to move the divot off the bottom, the little white. You see the white right here? That's what's keeping that head locked on the tether. Okay? So now, the first clamp you're going to take off is that one. Okay? And if everything's clamped downstream like you think, it's not going to go anywhere. Right? Okay? You're going to get rid of this. Yeah. And then you're going to work the other clamp. You're going to fill it just like you've been practicing, right? Nothing's different, right, Francis?
I think.
You think?
Well, I haven't been able to practice.
Okay. Well, you're practicing now.
So slowly.
It's all you.
Slowly.
Yep.
And then we turn it when
So once the fluid level, yeah, you want to make sure that's the highest point, right? And then once you have that, you want to lower it down, and once you get fluid past your clamp, you're going to re-clamp. Right?
let's check if there's no bubbles so we can move them.
So if you have gross air that you can see, okay, you're going to walk it back to your bag. Okay? Okay, that white divot below, you're going to have to slide it back so you can lock that head in place. And then you're going to have to align, see the little divots on the side of the centrifugal head? Yeah, when that white thing, when you pull it back, it's pushing that back out, and you want to lock that in one of your divots so it doesn't fall off.
Okay. And
Now, what are you going to do?
isolate the sensor so we can zero it.
Mm-hmm. Brandy, is that? Yeah, I'm sorry. I couldn't remember if I turned it on or not.
And
Okay.
this one, we don't have
This.
this one is
I could not get the 550 to work, so I took the 550 off and I put a 540. So you've got the 560, two 540s, and two Delphins up here. So there's 5 functional pumps. And the S3, I still got to try and find inserts. Peely brought me some today, but they didn't work, so.
this one is here.
So what are we doing?
I don't know which.
You're going to hit that button?
Take the key on it.
Yep, and you want a 0 flow, so you're going to hit the 0 button there until it does not blink.
This one?
Yep. Have you got circulation in your fingertips? There you go. By goodness. Now, when we go back and do a transducer, you're going to come back over here to say this page to 0 the transducer too.
Okay.
So when you run the pump, you want to be back on page 1 though, because you want to see flow and RPMs. So anything that's blinking at you is what? Not zeroed. Okay? So now we've got a 0 here, and you can start your forward flow.
So first this one?
You can take that one off first. Yep. What kind of RPMs do you need?
1,200.
Okay. So you're going to turn your RPMs up. And see, it's already telling you got backflow, but that makes sense because we've got a clamp on the line still, right? So in order not to drive Cindy crazy, we're gonna whip it up to 1200.
It moves up and down.
Huh?
There we go.
Okay. Now, you wanna make sure you have forward flow, so you're gonna take, let's think about what we're priming next. What are we priming next?
Oxygenator.
We can mop. Okay, so you want to have forward flow, so you're going to take this clamp off first, and then you're going to have your other hand on the recirc clamp. Okay? You can't. You can somewhat if you're running off the tether and you've got that other clamp, because you could put the clamp higher and then create an air bubble. Ready?
So open, or
Open.
close.
Open this one first and then that one.
So,
Because you want to make sure you have forward flow.
so here.
Now I have forward flow. Yay! Okay. Now you'll notice that whatever air you had, CO2 or whatever trapped in the recirc, it's back up here again. So if you want, you can reach over there, and Frandy, can you turn the sucker on a little bit for me? This one? The pump sucker. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's still
It's
on,
still
even though
on.
it's
Still on, yeah. It doesn't light up.
Okay. And so what I did was I opened the chimney here and I pulled that fluid off. Okay. Now the reason I put a clamp here is because if I don't and I'm pulling fluid, I'm going to get fluid all over the floor. Okay. So now it's pulling off. Okay. Now what are we going to do next?
It's gonna go to
Do we need to do anything to the oxygenator?
that way. We're gonna
You have to
clean it.
bleed the ports here?
Mm-hmm.
See one.
So there's 2 ports, just like you had before. Now that's a temp probe. Red is a port, and this is a port up here, right? You're not used to seeing it because you're used to the reservoir on top of it. So you can see it a little bit better here. A little one. So you're going to bleed your ports and tap your oxygenator just like you did before. Okay?